G'day, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Encounters Down Under Live. Thanks for joining me. I know it's a bit of a usual time here when we do a live stream there, but we've got to go on a quote for our guests from overseas and such. But thanks for joining me, guys. It's good to have you here. But yeah, as always, if you have had an experience or an encounter of some sorts, please get in touch with me. I'd love to go and have a chat with you on the podcast. If you've got friends or family who have had an experience, be sure to go and send them my way. But otherwise, yeah, look, let's get straight into it there. We've got bit of a short on time today, but we'll make the most of it, make it work. But anyway, this guest we have on is Nancy Thames. I hope I pronounced it right. Thames. Sorry, I've got to go and get that fixed up in a minute. But now she's a former Department of Defense employee as well as a long life contactee with extraterrestrials and such. So look, we'll go and have a chat with her and go and find out what it's all about. So let's get her on there at the moment. Nancy, how you going?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. I hope I pronounced your last name right. I didn't ask that earlier. Is it Nancy Thames or Thames?
It's Thames, like the Thames River in England.
Oh, there you go. I knew there was going to be a trick to it.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Sorry about that. So look, now you've had quite some lifelong experiences there and such, but you've also been in the Department of Defense as well. So like that's got me really curious of someone who's been a contactee and also worked in the Department of Defense over there. So, like, please tell me how it came about with this sort of whole lifelong encounters.
Well, I'm a lifelong contactee, and my first conscious memories are like 2 and 3 years old. And this has been always happening to me all throughout my life. And when I got older, and I actually did live in Australia for about 5 years. And so while I was there, I lived up on Mount Mee, overlooking the Glass House Mountains. And then my parents said, it's time for you to get back to the States. So I went back and I started looking for a job. And I decided I wanted to get a job working for the military because I liked the idea of being able to move around to different places. And also they had teaching facilities that you could work in. So I got a civilian job at a dental clinic on Schofield Barracks. And they did not know my history and I didn't offer them any information. So, you know, I did have to have a security clearance because of it being in the Pacific Rim. Everyone there had to have a security clearance. It had nothing to do with extraterrestrials or anything like that. I was just working as a civilian for the Army, getting soldiers prepared to deploy overseas. So it was a great experience for me. I got to be around a lot of technology that you don't see in private practices. So that was the plus side of it. And as I've gotten older and I've continued to have all these experiences and interactions, face-to-face interactions with interdimensionals and extraterrestrials, I realize now that that was something that they wanted to make happen for me. They wanted me to experience that. So I've lived a lot of different places, been around a lot of different cultures, around some indigenous people, and all of it, I think, was part of the whole package of getting me from my moment of birth on this planet Earth to becoming who I am today, to speak out as a spokesperson for them. And I have positive experiences. I have experienced fear. I know what it's like to be on the other side of the coin, totally freaked out, confused, not understanding. I've been through all aspects of what it's like to be a true experiencer, contactee, to be scared, to not look forward to going to bed at night, sometimes staying up late to prevent it. These things cannot be changed. If you have a agreement with them from prior to coming to Earth in your soul contract, it doesn't, you just have to be patient. And at some point you'll realize, just as I have, that I had made agreements to be a part of this. And what they've taught me is that we all make agreements to come here and be on Earth. And we all have what's called soul contracts, whether it be a soul contract or interplanetary contract or angelic contract. Souls come from different places, and then we're here to all learn and experience different things. But I think most of us came here because we knew this is a pivotal moment for humanity. This is a waking up process, a waking up period of humanity. This is the biggest thing since our creation. We are actually evolving higher to higher consciousness, and we will be leaving this 3D realm, this 3D world that we are living in, and moving up into a new level, a higher consciousness and dimensions. So we're talking about moving into a different dimension. These dimensions are not physical places. They are higher levels of consciousness. So I started off remembering things from when I was 2 and 3, and it was fun. You know, it was just playful and a lot of fun. And then as I got older, and I started being what I call programmed by the world around me, you know, I sort of lost that innocence. You know, the world taught me to be scared. The world taught me to perceive things the way that it wanted humanity to perceive things. And so that was my life. I knew no other way. So when I would have what the world's telling me that these were not good, that, you know, I grew up in a Bible Belt, these things were considered demonic or whatever. And, you know, but I was having these experiences. So it was very hard to be a young person, a child, a young person, and turn into an adult, a mother and a wife, and have these extraterrestrial experiences. And yet the world around me was telling me it's not real, or it's lies, or it's demonic. So it's not an easy thing. And some people say, I'd like to trade places with you. And right now I'm happier than I've ever been, because I finally understand what was the purpose, what it all meant, who I am, why I chose to come here and do what I'm doing. But before I got to this point, 10 years, 15 years ago, I would have said, I think I'm crazy, you know, because the world around us tells us that these things aren't real, but they are. They're very real. And if any of you out there are experiencing things like this, it's real. It's real. We are not alone in the universe, and we've never been alone. And they are here now because they realize that we as a species, human beings, are reaching a higher level of consciousness. And they've been waiting for this moment to happen, because now they can interact with us at this point, or as we progress a little further into it. And we will not misunderstand or perceive them differently. They are not gods. They are not angels. They are just beings from a different dimension, and they are of a higher evolution than us. So they have made me to who I am today, and I'm proud to be who I am. And I've gone through a lot of personal struggles and stuff to get me to this point, but it all makes sense now. It was all served a higher purpose to help us, because our world is changing. I think everybody can notice that, you know, we're having all these certain things that are happening now in our timelines that hasn't happened in a long, long time. All these things are happening because our Earth, our planet, is changing and reaching a higher consciousness. So our world is changing, and so are we as human beings. So it's a big process, and all these things are not going to happen overnight. But as we wake up, we will have a better range of understanding. For now, we are limited with our 5 senses. That's what we use to understand our world around us. But with reaching higher consciousness, our awareness will open up more. Our intuitions will open up more. There'll be activations in our DNA that have been suppressed down intentionally by the world, or the superior controlling elites, dark hats, dark governments above us, that's been controlling us for all these decades of time. So we're fixing to see a big change in the world and a big change in humanity. And the beautiful part of it is that we are all a part of it. And that's why I truly think we, humanity, we are the disclosure. And it doesn't matter what any government say or sit back and don't say. We will reach this point of our evolutionary stage and realize, and we learn to look within ourselves and find our soul selves, the real person inside you that chose to be here at this moment, at this period of time. And when we figure all these things out, there will be things that change dramatically for us. And old ways of wars and negative feelings and negative ways of living will dwindle away. And this is how it has happened throughout the universe and throughout other galaxies and other beings. We are not the first beings in the universes to reach this pivotal moment. The extraterrestrials and interdimensionals did this billions of years ago. And a group that I'm affiliated with, that is their sole purpose, is they live solely on a mothership, and they go around between different planets and universes looking for beings that are reaching this level of higher consciousness and introducing them gradually. All this will not happen overnight, but getting us ready to be introduced into the cosmic realm where we belong, which is part of our family that we have forgotten, because when we come to Earth, we forget our past. We everything from our knowledge is erased, but all this information is in our subconscious. So best thing to do is for people to start meditating within themselves and asking their subconscious to open up into their human consciousness and help you understand your purpose in life. What resonates with you when you hear people like me and all these different other people around the world saying all these different things. It'll help you to find at what stage or what part of it resonates with you and what you are comfortable with. Because I'm not asking you to believe everything I'm saying. I'm asking you to look within and question the world around you. And maybe there's some things that we've been lied to about. Maybe there's some things that has been suppressed from us by our governments. And maybe, just maybe, there's something inside of us that will wake up and reveal a lot of information that's just sitting there waiting for us to ask it to open up and be in our human consciousness. So I know that's a lot to absorb. So I'll let you kind of ask me some things if you'd like to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, it's hard, like you're saying, like there's so many different people out there claiming different stories and like contactees, and always come up with like, oh, I'm talking to the Pleiades, I'm talking to the reptilians, or whoever they were talking to, like Arcturians and whatnot.
Exactly.
So like to the normal, okay, the average person in the world who is not really open to this whole subject or even has an experience, or like they're very, I'm gonna go use skeptical or very non-believing on the whole idea of this whole thing. So how does it come about? Like when someone's going to say, "Hey, look, I talk to aliens and whatnot," like how can we come across this as a better way instead of just going, "I talk to aliens, so you got to believe me," like and not come across as a crazy person. So you're saying like we've got to go and try and go to meditations and try and open up in ourselves and that.
Well,
And of course, it's a gradual thing to do this, but it's going to take a long time, and a lot of people are going to keep sort of coming back negatively, going, "Well, you're just talking to whatever's in your head." How can
yeah.
we sort of really open up at the idea that this actually is an existence?
Well, I think, like I said, we need to find out who we are. For me, I wanted to know the Nancy Thames, the soul, my soul self, my inner self, the one that chose to be here. What is my soul purpose? What is my reason for being here? Not the Nancy the world around me has created and programmed and manipulated me to be. My experiences with the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials has opened my eyes up to realize that there's a lot of things that we have been lied to, and they have helped me to understand my connection, not only with them, the interdimensionals and the extraterrestrials in the universe, but also my connection with our planet Earth. Our planet Earth is a living conscious being. Everything, all living beings on our planet are living conscious beings. We think we are the only living conscious beings on this planet, and that is not true. And scientists are coming out and telling us now that trees communicate, plants communicate, insects have a consciousness. They are not the same consciousness that we humans have, but they do have a consciousness, and we are all connected. When we were created, everything we ever needed was placed here on Earth to help. And unfortunately, these higher elites, dark forces, dark hats, whatever you want to call these elites, cabal, Illuminati, the ones that control our banking systems, our pharmaceutical companies, our governments, the food that we eat, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, they put toxins in our food, air, and water. They put negative information all around us. They dominate and control what we teach our children. They dominate and control what we hear on the news. They make sure they create wars to keep us in fear. Everything is done to keep human beings in fear and separated, because when we were created, we are all one and we are all connected. We are one. So their goal, and it's worked, is to keep us separated. By keeping us separated, that they increases racism, increases negativity, bad judgment, bad choices, all these things, that are not healthy to a human being. And by giving us the toxins in the air, water, and food, that not only it helps control the population by keeping us unhealthy. And it also, so they can control the population, they can control us by keeping us at a lower, dumbed down level, because they cannot make money off intelligent, healthy human beings. So as we reach higher consciousness, they know that they will not be able to control us. They know that humans will live a longer lifespan. They know that by reaching higher consciousness, we will, through our evolution, realize our old ways of living and thinking no longer serve humanity. And we will know that there needs to be major changes in our lives for us to advance not only into the cosmic realm, but for us to be able to have AI technology and not destroy ourselves with it or with nuclear weapons. So we will understand through this higher consciousness what matters most. What matters most is us coming together, having peace and unity, love. Quit watching all these negative things. Learn to see the beautiful things in life. And as this happens, what that does is it raises our frequency. Humans are at a very low frequency. And that's because the higher ups, the elite, the cabal, they know all these things. And they understand that by keeping us at this level, they can control us. So, but it's to the point now that things are happening, things are changing really fast. They can't control what was bound to happen in the first place, which is our evolution. We're just simply at that point. And with our technology, we could destroy ourselves, or we can have it and use it to make our lives better. And it will not take away all jobs from humans. That's not how it should work. How it should work is AI and computers. All this is technology that is man-made. This is man-made technology. We have to keep it as man-made technology. We should not ever turn it loose with these negative cabal, negative elites, negative dark forces. They will use it against humanity. We need to take control, use these things to better our life. Use it to where it won't take away jobs. It will create new jobs. It will create jobs in a sense that we will come to a point in our evolution where we will choose that we won't even call them jobs. We'll call them my service to community, my service to self, things that you love and enjoy doing. We will not place a value on things like we do now. We are moving from a negative 3D realm to a more positive, loving, sharing, unified new realm. And we will make positive, beautiful, wonderful changes. And I know a lot of people say that's impossible. Nothing is impossible if you can get all of humanity to wake up. And it won't happen all at one time, but to get us all to wake up and start coming together and working together. A lot of things can be done in great numbers, and that is what it's going to take. And that's why the interdimensionals and the extraterrestrials are here now in huge motherships all around our planet, putting in frequencies of love and unity, helping to assist us in our waking up process and reaching a higher level of consciousness. So I'm sure there's more questions you'd like to ask me, so I'll give you the opportunity.
That's fine. I sort of feel like they need to go and amp up these frequencies to go and get all combined as one instead of divide all the time. Because I don't know, the way I see things at the moment, like, yeah, we are sort of coming together a little bit, but we're still very much divided with the whole way the world is at the moment.
Division is done intentionally. That's the first thing we as a humanity, we as the people need to realize, that they are fighting us tooth and nail to keep us under their control. But once we realize that we do not have to live this way, things in our lives can change. And that through our great number, we have more power than what we realize. And we will realize that through our unity and great number, these old ways just simply will not work. Our banking systems are already breaking down. Our religious systems are already breaking down. Education systems, all these things are starting to break down. Our technology is so great. Corporations and companies can't even protect themselves from scammers and hackers because it's to the point to where there's got to be some changes made. We're just getting to a tipping point. And that is why they are here to help us. And we have to want to be better humans. We have to do our part. They're not going to do everything for us. They're not here to take over. They are not here to take control and command. They are here to assist us as we grow into this new evolutionary stage and reaching a higher realm. They are here to assist us and give us the guidance. They have seen many, many different races and species of beings throughout universes and galaxies reach this level. So this is the first time for humanity, but it's not the first time for them. And they have showed me visions of how it will all play out. And I know without other people seeing it, it's hard to understand, but we must be patient and we must be persistent and we must work at being better human beings. And we need to look and find our inner selves. Use that inner self to help you know which paths are right for you. We are all here on our own spiritual path. Coming to Earth is a human experience that is full of experience. Earth is a school. This is a place where we come to learn and experience things. So that's why a lot of people, you hear about them saying like their souls recycle back to Earth. That's because they didn't do what their soul purpose was. So once we get to this understanding that we do have a say and control, then we can actually have more say and enjoy our human experience better. And it won't be this working 9 to 5 under a slave system we have never been free. From the minute we are born, we're given social security numbers. We are work from 9 to 5. Some families never even see their children because they work so much to put food and stuff on the table. We should have no poverty. We should not be using the fossil fuels. We should have free energy. We should have no diseases. There should be none of these things should be occurring, and we should be living longer lifespans. But none of these things are happening for us because it's being controlled by dark forces that has been over us since way back.
Yeah.
All beginning with differences in language, differences in religions. Everything is to keep us separated. Separation. And this has been going since way back. So we were easy to control, but we're to the point where that's not going to work anymore. And the dark forces know that. And that's why they'll be fighting tooth and nail to make humanity not believe someone like me or anything positive in the world. They want you to believe everything's horrible. The whole world is breaking down. It's horrible. That way they can influence people and political parties to put weapons into space. That is the worst thing that we could do, because this, for one, the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials are not going to let that happen ever. There's no way. They've already come down here and turned these nuclear power stations on and off to indicate that is not acceptable. So we have a lot of power plays within our governments and with the elites that are all working against humanity. They're not for us. They're about us using us to make money and to better their agendas. They're not thinking about us. But it's time that we start thinking about us. And the time is to start now, because we're at this point where if we don't wake up and reach this higher consciousness, bad things could happen in our future. So it's up to us to make sure that our future generations, our grandchildren's grandchildren, have a beautiful world to live in.
Yeah. So why isn't it like, okay, yeah, they're focusing on the main population of the Earth there, but why aren't they communicating with the elites or the world leaders and going, hey, look, you need to go and, better yourselves here. You're doing the wrong things here. Like, why aren't you doing it this way and this, like, guiding us? Why is there no contact in this sort of way?
They already know all this, and they already know that at some point this would happen. So, but they are working against it to let them stay in control as long as they can. But this is just part of our evolution. There's nothing they can do. And how long it happens, I don't know. What happens between now and the end of it, at the end of all this, I don't know. But I do know it is going to happen. It will happen. So the best thing we can do is to make it as beautiful and comfortable process as we can by becoming better human beings. And another thing too is that they are limited in the things that they can do down here on Earth. There are cosmic laws that prevent them from coming down here and stopping a war. There are laws that prevent them from interfering in our evolution, our growth. It's just like when we're born, we have to fall before we learn to walk. Humanity is like that. Sometimes we have to go through these bad spells to get us to the point to where we understand and have learned our lessons so that we don't repeat in our ways. And the problem is we've had many wars, but for some reason we didn't learn from these mistakes. It just kept continuing. So, but human beings, we all made a choice to be here, and we all make choices in our soul contracts. Some of us come here as soul beings, which means we are from Earth and we come back, we have an agreement to come here to Earth. Some people are angelic souls. They come here from the angelic realm, and they're here to serve humanity and teach goodness and love and unity, peace. Then there's some people like me that come here from the interplanetary realm, the cosmic realm. And we are here I am here, I incarnated here from the interdimensionals to help humanity in our evolutionary assistance and to help us understand we are not alone in the universe, and that there's positive, beautiful things ahead for us. And to let you know that a lot of the things that in our lives we have been lied to about, and there's a lot of misinformation. And I'm also here to tell you, you don't have to believe what I say, but I hope that it sparks you to do research on your own, or to do like I'm suggesting, look within yourself, find your own answers, because all the information we need is in our subconscious. Our subconscious knows everything that we've ever been before in our past lives, and it knows everything about what we need. Our human consciousness puts a barrier and blocks us from recalling and remembering a lot of things, because throughout our time, some things, the person I was when I was 30 would not be able to digest the information that they've given me now. I'm 64 now, and they gave me a Kundalini awakening. With that awakening, it opened my subconscious into my human consciousness, and it helped me to put all the pieces together of my life, why I lived in Australia, why I was a civilian for the Army, why I went through 2 divorces, why I witnessed my children being taken by extraterrestrials when they were small. All these things that have occurred in my life, when they did that, and just before that, I always knew, but when that happened, that really, really sealed the deal for me, and to make me who I am today, because they've always wanted me to come out and tell to humanity and get people prepared for this stage, this process in our evolution.
Yeah, fair enough. So look, that's what I was going to lead to now, is like back to your own personal experiences and that. So you mentioned that your children have been abducted and such, but like I want to go back to your first sort of encounters there. Like, when did you start first experiencing some sort of forms of contact or some sort of encounters in that nature?
My conscious memories started about 2 years old. I remember from 2 years old on up. And my contacts are physical, face to face, hand in hand. I, embrace, I hold hands, they allow me to touch their face. I allow them to touch mine. And I have a bond, a beautiful, beautiful bond. And they showed me when I was 30 years old, when I saw my 2 sons being taken for the first time. And I was very confused, upset, angry, scared, emotional, everything under the sun I felt. And so when I sat down and I had a meditation with them with pure intention, asking them to give me answers, explanations of why this was happening to me, why to my children, what does it mean, what is the purpose, what is the agenda. And I'm not a person that says that I can call ETs down or do any of these silly, I'm a human, I'm a being having a human experience. I'm a human being. I don't have any magical powers. I'm just a human. So they didn't come immediately when I asked them to. In their own time, they did come, and they took me before a group of elders. And when I was before the group of elders, I asked these questions, and they showed me a vision of myself as a interdimensional, kind of an etheric looking being, agreeing to come here and agree. And they walked me through the process of my soul's essence going into my mother's, into the fetus inside her, and how I would wake up and not remember any of these things until different stages in my life as they would work with me and help me to remember this and understand my reason for coming to Earth and the purpose of it. And that's why I'm here today having this conversation with you.
Yeah. So can you describe them? Like which sort of beings are we talking about here?
Okay. Well, we are talking about a bunch of races. I come from a mothership, and there are interdimensionals, which are 7 to 8 foot tall. They have some human-like features, but they're more of a pale, luminescent looking beings because of their of higher consciousness. Then there are grays. There are there's many different races of grays. There are hybrid grays. Then there's like over 60 different kinds of different grays in different colors and different heights. So there's tall grays, there's short grays, medium-sized grays, there's reptilians, there's many different races of reptilians. There's Arcturians, Palladians, Anunnaki. All these different races are on this ship, and there's many different race. There's not just one race of Arcturian, one race of Nordic, one race of Palladian. There's many different races. So, and there's aquatic beings, and there's races there that some of us don't really even know about in mainstream humanity. So there's many different ones up there. But the grays, they send 3 grays down, and one in particular is with me every single time. She is like an escort or a guardian, and she's the one that comes and gets me from my home or wherever I am in the world and takes me to craft. Once I get on craft, then I'm around the other extraterrestrials and the interdimensionals. And then when it's time for me to go home, it's the 3 grays who always travel in 3s take me back home. And they are a hybrid that was designed by the tall grays and the interdimensionals, because extraterrestrials and interdimensionals really don't like the density of Earth. It's not as compatible with them. So they created this hybrid gray to do the legwork, the back and forth, to get contactees and to take them to craft. And there's a lot of different people. There was a rogue race of grays and some other races that kind of spin off of the collective consciousness of the majority of extraterrestrials. And they came down a long time ago and started doing like little treaties and stuff with governments, traded technology for genetic research or different things. So those are the ones that got called, or people consider themselves abductees. I have never considered myself or my children abductees, because we agreed to come here and be a part of this. Now, abductees, there's different ways of thinking on this. They claim they made no agreements. But if you talk to some people like Geraldine Orozco, or some of these people that have really done their research and really done like hypnotic regression and all these deep regressions, they find out that a lot of these people that are abductees actually made soul contracts to be a part of that, but they don't remember it. And I didn't remember it until they told me and showed me the vision. But I asked for them to explain to me. And a lot of people, I think, because of their fear, they don't ask them to do certain things. But I did. I demanded it.
Right. So I won't call it abductions then. I'll call it maybe transporting to the mothership then. So what's happening while you're encountering this experience on the ships? Like what's happening? What's the whole? Well, you said there was a lost myself. Yeah, there's a reason behind what they're doing. So what's the ambitions here?
Okay, what happens is they come and get me. When I was younger, we live in a 3D world. Humans are at a very low frequency. So they would take a handheld device and they would run this device from head to toe to head. And then I would feel my body start to elevate off the bed. And as I would look around, and that's when I would see seeing myself holding the hands with the female gray. And then she would take me by the hand and we would go through a roof or through a ceiling or through a window or through a door. I never understood at the time how this was even possible, because here I was going to school and science and math and all these things, telling me human beings are capable of doing these things. Very confusing. But I now know that the handheld device, they were changing my frequency to match their frequency. And that's how they were able to carry me up through a ceiling or through the door. They changed me to what their frequency is. And it was physically happening. It wasn't like pulling out my soul essence, or it wasn't an out of body experience. It wasn't a dream. It was physical contact and them taking my frequency and changing it. And I can remember going through the roof, looking around and seeing the insulation and pieces of furniture and boxes that my parents had stored in there. And I was like, how is this happening? And at that time, the female gray would never answer me. And really, she has never been the one to give me answers other than just brief messages and stuff. The bulk of my information does come from the interdimensionals and the extraterrestrials on board. But when I get on board, they are evaluating me. There's always an evaluation, a group of peers that are evaluating me, watching me, listening to me. And then there are a group of physicians, doctors, and they're checking my wellness, my physical wellness. They're checking my mental health. They're checking to see how am I balancing having a human consciousness and a human life, and then coming in, from time to time in my life, coming and having my life with them. So they're checking for my spiritual growth, my, what level of consciousness I'm on, all these different variables. And if I'm not well, if I'm sick, they will fix me. They've done many little tweaks on my body, they've worked on my kidneys. I had a minor dysplasia, which is the beginning stages of cancer. They fixed that, different little things throughout my life. And, they've worked on. So they're always checking a human's well-being. And for me, I'm not under any contracts other than my agreement with them, because I was an interdimensional. They can fix all these things for me. For other people, they would love to fix things for it, but sometimes they cannot, because some people in their soul contract make agreements on what they want to experience, and they might want to experience a disease. That sounds really, really cruel and odd and stuff.
It does.
But, and there's a lot of it I don't particularly like. For example, they've told me that, sometimes people decide how long they're going to stay here on Earth. I just lost my 29-year-old daughter-in-law, and she has a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Oh, that's sad to hear.
I don't like it, but we have no control on what we don't know, and we are wiped out when we get here. So we don't know what kind of agreements we've made unless we look into our inner self and are given these visions, or we get that insight and intuition from our inner self. And that's what I rely on is my subconscious to help me understand, because I don't like everything that I'm finding out. But I also know that just like when I saw my children being taken at that time, it was horrific. It was terrible, terrible. Now my perception has changed, because I understand it served a purpose, and they could have easily have taken them and I would have never even known, but they wanted me to see it. They wanted me to experience it, because who I am now is what matters, and how I understand how these things sometimes happen in our lives and we have no control over, but we have to continue on with our lives, because we do not know the reason for everything and agreements that individuals have made. And it's just like my grandchildren, maybe that was part of their agreement in their previous life that they wanted to experience. We will never know everything. Never know everything. And we're just now reaching this level of understanding that we are not alone in the universe. And we're just now, finally, not everybody, but we're reaching the point to where we understand that there's life going on all around us right here, right now. There could be an extraterrestrial craft part right here in my living room with me, and I would not be able to see it. And it's just like they're extraterrestrial UFOs and stuff are not hiding from us. They're all over our skies and they're all over in our solar system. We can't see it because we're in a 3D world. We're limited to what we can see. We can't see the plants communicating, but they are communicating. And these things are being proved every day. So as we advance, and it's not going to happen overnight, it will be done at such a slow pace that people will not flip out about it. It will just be, it's beautiful. It's done with intention. And also I want you to people to understand that extraterrestrials and interdimensionals all have souls, and they all believe in a creator source. And they believe that the creator source created all universes, created all galaxies, created all things. And it is a very, very high consciousness source. And when we die, our life is not over. Our life is not over. We leave this body, this vessel that we're in, but we move on. Our consciousness and our soul moves on up into the upper realms of higher consciousness. And it is decided whether, with our agreements, whatever, if we've met those, we can choose to be either a extraterrestrial, a dolphin, or whatever. We could come back to Earth if we wanted to. If we have not completed our missions here and all the experiences that we needed, then it will probably be that we do come back to Earth to redo it again. And if we get to a point to where we've experienced all we feel necessary and our agreements are completed, then we can choose to stay in a non-physical etheric form at the highest state of consciousness, and we can stay there forever. So our life is not over. We are immortal. We do not stay as a human being forever. That ends. But our consciousness and our soul goes on, and that part of us is immortal.
Yeah, okay. Look, I'd like to say, like, condolences to you and the family about your daughter. That's very sad to hear. It's, well, I couldn't imagine it myself. I don't want to imagine it, but it's one of those ways of life, unfortunately. But go and look back to your sons. Did they talk about their experiences at all and what they sort of encountered when they were abducted?
Yes. When that happened, when they were very young, they didn't remember it at the time. And now that my sons are, one is 42, the other's later 30s. And the oldest son has the same experiences that I do. And he's had the Kundalini awakening. They gave me a Kundalini awakening. And when that happened, and when it happened to him, our lives changed tremendously. And we have an understanding of things that we didn't understand 10 years ago. It was very confusing. But all the little pieces of all his experiences have come together, and all of mine have come together. And it's wonderful that we have each other now, and we can have these deep conversations about, we often wonder, like, could it be that, kind of like this Avatar, the movie Avatar, maybe in the extraterrestrial world, we're in a sleep state, and this is a dream state for them, because in extraterrestrial and interdimensional world, there is no such thing as time. I'm 64 years old. That seems like a whole lot of time here on Earth. But when you're in a reality where there is no such thing as time, everything happens all at once here and now, and they live in the now. Maybe this is, I don't know. There's so much that we will not know. And there's so much they will not tell me until I'm ready, because human beings, we can only take so much information in at one time. We can only stay in so much, it has to be done in a very slow way. so that we don't flip out and we don't run around with guns shooting up at the sky and stuff like that. And it will be done in a way to where we won't have the chaotic things that a lot of people think that we will.
Yeah, fair enough. So look, you mentioned too, like you got like a sole contract there, and I know like a lot of people I've spoken to in the past as well. Whereas like family are having experiences as well. Uh, I've I've sort of come to the terms of like calling it like a bit of a blood contract. I know it's probably not a very great way to describe it, but have your family, like your parents or any other family members prior to you had experiences as well that
Have
you're
they
aware
had
of?
experiences? My sister has had experiences, but not to the degree that I have. I
Yeah,
think one thing that I've learned, they will not push an individual any further or faster than what you are ready for. They were given an opportunity, but they didn't necessarily want it. And like I said, they won't pursue that. If you don't want it, they're not going to push you. So in my experience, it is the right time. It's I've been built into this, and it is the right time. And the time that I started back, what, 5 years ago on the website and the Facebook group, all that time for disclosure. Now all of a sudden we're having disclosure within our governments and stuff. So for me, it's just kind of worked out. The universe is working with me, and opportunities and doors have opened because I see it and I pursue it in a positive, loving unity. And I look at it as, this is not about me. This is not about the United States. This is a worldwide phenomenon. This is about the whole world. This is about all of humanity. And that's why I say we are the disclosure. And I'm talking about humanity. Humanity is the disclosure. It doesn't matter what the governments say. We are the disclosure because we are reaching higher consciousness, and we are going to remember all these things, and things are going to open and surface in our heart and minds, and we are going to know our true origins. We're going to know all these questions that we've had all our lives that we've been denied. We all are part of the cosmic realm. We all have DNA from not one race of extraterrestrials, but many different races. And they played a part. And notice I said played a part. I didn't say one race created us and our gods and creators. That's not how I was taught and what I've learned from them. They played a part because they believe in creator source. They played a part in our creation, which also means not only us, but our planet and everything on our planet. And that's why we are all one. We are all connected, and we are all one. And that includes the universe and extraterrestrials and interdimensionals, because we are all one.
that's right. So when it comes to your own personal experiences and others as well, what makes you feel like you're so different compared to others there to be able to go and remember your experiences to such a degree and have such a physical contact where others like they wake up confused, unaware, or some people are very unaware of their encounters, but they know something's off. So what makes them so different between you and others in that sort of regard?
Overcoming the fear. We are in a fear bound realm. Our fear gets the best of us. It changes our perceptions. Fear limits us from the world around us. Fear limits us from possibilities, reaching higher consciousness. So I have had to personally work on my fears, and sometimes I still have to do it. Sometimes it catches me off guard. I know when they're coming. I can feel it. I feel their frequency, and my brain automatically goes to a fear stage, and then I have to like, whoa, we're not doing that. We know what this is. We're going to maintain and push through the experience so we can stay fully conscious, because what they do, they are telepathic. So if we fear, anxiety, fear, those things don't exist in their realm, in their reality. So when they sense my fear or my anxiety, they feel it tenfold what I feel. They do not like that. They do not understand it because they don't have those type of emotions. So they simply tap human beings. They'll tap us out and put us in it's like a sedated without the medication. They just tap my forehead or tap someone's forehead, and it puts you in a calm vegetative state, so to speak, and you're fully functional. Like they'll say, let's go, and you'll move and walk along with them and all this stuff. And it's hard to explain. So anyway, you go through the same experience, but it makes it easier for them because you're not fighting them. You're not screaming and yelling and crying and all this stuff because they don't understand these feelings. They don't like it. So they do that. And it does us a favor because we're feeling all this crazy feelings and fear. So it puts us in the more of the basic checked out reality. It's like being sedated, but you're not sedated. You go along. I don't know how to explain it to you really, but anyway, the only problem for that is that I realized my experiences, I was having fragmented memories, and I realized it's because of my fear. And then when I talked to them, they told me I had to work on my fear. And I asked them to help me with this. And they can come to you, they can be invisible, they can take an image from your mind. And when you see them in a room with you, they pull an image that you're comfortable with. And then they can communicate you and explain to you these things. So with me, they chose an image I was comfortable with, but I also knew that image was not that person. That person would never be in my room at that time, that day or night. So I understood. And so I had a communication, and they were explaining to me that I had to work on my fear. I have to, if I want to have the full experience of remembering the whole thing, I have to work on it. So I did. And so now I have longer full conscious contact, and I get to touch their hands. I get to rub my fingers between theirs. I get to feel their skin. They do the same to me. And we have face-to-face communication. So for me, this is not a dream. This is not an out-of-body experience. This is not something I saw in my head or thought I saw. This is in person, face-to-face, hand-to-hand interaction, physical. So, but I had to, I was one of them before I came to Earth. So I am a direct lineage of them. And also, this is my first time to come to Earth. And so they're closely watching me because people that are not earthbound have a harder time with their human experience than any other soul that comes here, because this is all new and everything's different. So they keep a close eye on me. But another reason too is because, well, I think it's mainly because I was one of them before. And the other reason too, though, is because I'm receptive to learn. I'm receptive to engage and push it further. Every night I meditate to them. I want to know more than I know right now. I want to experience more than I know what I have. And I understand and respect that they are limited to what they can do, but I still ask for more.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's always a never-ending goal, isn't it? Like, just try and know more and
we'll
understand
never
more.
know everything. Never.
Yeah.
And I don't know everything. I do not know everything. I do not have all the answers. And I'll be the first to tell you, I do not know everything. And, that's why I say you're on your own spiritual path, do what you're comfortable with. All I'm trying to do is spark people into trying to reach into higher consciousness, try to reach into being better humans. And a lot of the things that you want to know will start, the information will come to you, will fall in front of you. And that'll help you to make decisions on which path to believe and which path, to go, So I don't expect everyone to believe me. Sometimes I don't believe it. Sometimes I look at my son and say, how is this even going on? And there's just some things that we'll never understand. But this is my purpose. And I am comfortable in what I say because I have personally experienced these things. But that doesn't mean everybody else would experience something just like me. I don't know why. I don't know all the answers for sure.
No, that's fair enough. So I've got a couple of questions before we finish up here. Now, during your experiences there, like as I'm sure you're aware, other people who have kind of been abducted in that. Are you aware of any, like, if they've taken any samples from you at all, like egg specimens or something like that, to go on, for
I
hybrids and
am
whatnot?
aware that you have to understand, they are a billion years ahead of us. In their reality, you and I are talking on technology. You and I are sitting here talking I'm on a laptop. You're on a computer. This is our technology. In their reality, at their level of consciousness, their consciousness is their technology. It is not a physical thing that we pick up and move. Their consciousness is their technology. So their craft, their UFOs, are living conscious beings. So when they get in a craft, they use their consciousness and connect it to the consciousness of the craft. The pilot tells the craft where it wants to go, and bam, they go, using consciousness. So
Right. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. But didn't quite answer the question though. Like, have you are aware of any, like, any samples taken from you, or like to create like your hybrid
Well,
species or something like on that nature?
They don't do things like humans do. They can use and see things within our body. And when they do see, they don't have to take a blood sample. They don't have to do these things. These are human things. People try to humanize the extraterrestrial and cosmic realm. There is nothing human about it. They are billions of years ahead of us in evolution. They don't do things like we do. They don't do blood samples. They don't do stuff like that. They don't have to. All this misinformation was done to keep humanity in fear. They look at me, run a device when I was young. They don't even do that anymore. But they have the technology within. They can even look within me, within their own consciousness, and see what's wrong. And they can fix things without even picking up a knife.
Yeah, but even yourself, you said that there is hybrid species. So, like, how has that
They
come about?
made a gray hybrid species that they changed its DNA so that she and the others can come down in the density of Earth and stay here for a longer period of time on Earth. They're not compatible with it. It's harder for them. And that's why they're in a different dimension, in a different realm. So it is harder for them to stay in our reality, in our dimension, in our density of Earth for a long period of time. So that's why they created that hybrid. And that hybrid is a gray. It is just a tweaked version of the original gray to be able to withstand the density here on Earth and have longer visitations down here, because they come down and collect people like me and then take them up to craft.
Yep. So would you agree that they are taking samples from humans then, such as eggs and sperm samples, to go and create these hybrids?
I think a lot of that is misunderstood and misinformation. I think that there was a group that made a trade-off back a long time ago for genetic research. How they went about getting sperm and eggs, I have no clue. I was not there. But I do know that there was a rogue race that did do this, and it was shunned upon because they were not supposed to interfere with humanity. And I know that when the interdimensionals and all the other collective extraterrestrials realized that we were waking up and becoming higher consciousness, they told them to stop. And so that stopped years ago. The what people call abductions and stuff stopped. Unless the ones that there are some abductions that are military with some rogue race and some different races that aren't part of the majority of the collective consciousness. But there's some government abductions that are pretended to be extraterrestrials, but they're actually they are taught and trained in how to do it by some extraterrestrials, but it's a government.
Yep, fair enough. Oh, look, we're gonna finish it there. So, like,
Okay.
quickly, before we go there, like, obviously you got your own experience and such. How would you sort of feel like, well, what would you recommend it for someone who's in your sort of boots, to go and sort of like come forward with this sort of experience, like approach it and to open up their minds to, like, because it's difficult for a lot of other people. What would you
Oh, it's
recommend for
very
them?
difficult. And that's why I created my website, timefordisclosure.com. And it has a forum where people can interact and share experiences. And then the Facebook group, Time for Disclosure / We Have Never Been Alone / We Are the Disclosure. And it's about just under 20,000 people are members, and people come there and interact, learn information, learn about places where they can go for meetups, learn about conferences and events, learn about CE5 events where they can gather as a group and do these things and interact and be around like-minded people and have someone to talk to. Because a lot of people, and especially I know from my experiences growing up, we have family members that don't necessarily agree with us and don't want to hear and talk about it. And it's a lonely life if you can't talk about what you're experiencing. So there are lots of places where they can get the resources and information they need, and they can come to most any of the Facebook groups. But I know on mine, I personally interact in that group, and I make sure people have the information that they want and need. And we keep out negative trolling and things like that. We have over 20 monitors and 5 admin that watch and control so that people won't get laughed at, won't get picked at for sharing their information.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So, obviously, you're open for people to go and contact you and such. Like, so where can they find you?
That's where.
That's where exactly. Is it the only place though, or are you open to other
Well, I belong
services
to
as well?
many groups on Facebook and other little social media, but that is the main ones. And I do a lot of podcasts, and I am branching out. I'm doing conferences and things. And I don't have my own podcast. I have not written a book yet. At some point, I might write a book just so that my grandchildren and my great grandchildren's children know who I was and what I was trying to do for humanity. But I don't have anything for sale. This is not about making money. This is not about me. This is about getting the information out to humanity. So, yeah.
That's right. No, it's more so referring to like
is how you find me.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I was just more referring to like a direct contact if you were open to that sort of thing.
They can message me there or contact me there, and any way they want to, and then I'll respond back. And some people I will give them my personal information, but I would like to know who they are before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much a given, especially in this sort of topic. Get some unusual people.
Well,
They can get a little bit out of hand sometimes.
Well, there's a lot of people that want none of this to happen, and they will do anything to disrupt any good information that's being put out there because it doesn't serve their agenda. So we have to be real cautious. All of us should be cautious. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Nancy, it's been wonderful having you here tonight or today.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely a pleasure having you on. So look, all the best, and again, thank you very much for coming on. I'll get your details up on the page there so people can get in contact with you and get on the page there, and obviously share their experiences if they want to go and reach out. But again, thank you very much for your time there, all the way from the USA. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. You have a good one. Bye.
You too. Catch you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, guys, thanks for joining me in. It's been wonderful having you here today, and not tonight, because it's today. It's well now we're a little bit after midday now, so it's a bit unusual. if you like having these sort of midday shows there, guys, let me know. I'm going to try and do a few more of these midday ones, but I usually try and leave it till late at night because, more people are at home. You're able to get on here because everyone's working at this point in time. But, we'll definitely work on this. It's been a while since I've been on the podcast here doing some live streams. They've been very busy and just, just trying to mingle with family and that and sort of do my own things a little at the moment. But yeah, look, it's great being here. Back online. It's fantastic. But yeah, guys, don't forget, if you have had an experience there, be sure to go and get in touch with me. Got a friend or family member who has an experience, please send it out towards me. Also, check out the online store if you want to support the show, represent the brand there. Rock it out in the public there. Let them know that you're a fan of the podcast. But otherwise, yeah, look, guys, it's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed the show there. And all the best. I'll see you till next time. And keep in touch on the Facebook page. I'll try and keep you up to date with what's going on in the show and that. If you haven't already, the Facebook group, Facebook page, join those there. You should see some links there in the show somewhere. We can just find on Facebook. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling now, so I'll leave you still, guys. Thanks again for joining in, and I'll catch you all next time. All the best, guys. See you later.